What up, my dude? So we finally got the Arenacross DLC for MX versus ATV All Out. Oh, gotta love that. Uh, so yeah, they had some major issues. I mean, man, it's a blooming wonder I even was able to get on this DLC at all today, right? So let me just start from the beginning so it makes sense to you. So basically, they announced their Arenacross DLC, and then they, like a week or two later, they delay it, right, for another, like, week or two down the line before it actually comes out all the way. So then we get all the way to basically the second release date of it, the delayed release date, and I wake up this morning and there's no DLC, not even on Steam at all. You can't even download it. The day of release of the delayed DLC, and it's not even there. So then they come out with the DLC, like, I don't think it was like 10 o'clock in the morning or something like that for me, and I downloaded it and couldn't even get on the Arenacross tracks at all. Like, I had the DLC and everything, and you couldn't get on the actual tracks. And it wasn't just me. I was talking to a lot of different people out there, and they were having the same problem. So, yeah, basically paid my money for the DLC, get on there, and then can't even get on the tracks. So then 2 or 3 hours after that, finally was able to actually get on the Arenacross tracks. Oh, my God. Like what more can you do to make somebody like already hate something before they even get it? Come on, MX versus ATV. Like, when you delay something, you'd best have that out like midnight, like, I mean, right on the money of the day that it's supposed to come out when it's delayed. You don't need, I mean, I don't know how much more explanation I need to put on that there, but either way, let's get to the actual DLC. So basically, it's like, I think it's like $7 and something for, how many tracks are there? Like 12 maybe or something like that. So you're paying, what are you paying, like 50 cents a track or somewhere around there? So yeah, I mean, you're paying 50 cents a track for these Arenacross tracks, and I don't know if this is just me or if a lot of other people experience this, but personally, I've just never really had a whole lot of fun on Arenacross tracks, period, on like any dirt bike game. I don't know why that is, but they're just boring to me. Like, frankly, I don't know. They're just so short tracks. Feels like you're such a repetitive kind of feeling to them because you're running a lap on the track so quickly, and that's just the way I've always felt about them personally. They're not a whole lot of fun to me. They don't have the fun of like a supercross track, and obviously not the fun of a motocross track. So it just, how fun can a Arenacross only DLC really be? Right? That's kind of the whole thought behind it there. But as far as the way the actual tracks are, I've rode on about 5 or 6 of them here and got a pretty good idea on what's going on with them. Basically, they're not like 100% like what you would think real life scale, 1-to-1 scale Arenacross replicas would be. They're a little bit more kind of bigger scale than that. I feel like they're a little bit more on the fantasy scale. I feel like you're probably the tracks are definitely wider without a doubt on this one right here, on these Arenacross DLC. On a lot of the tracks anyways that I've noticed so far, tracks are a lot wider. I say a lot, they're probably like in certain areas. You guys know how real life Arenacross tracks are pretty narrow, dude. Like, they're more narrow than a real life supercross track, the Arenacross one. So but this one kind of feels more like what you might think like a supercross track width would be on a lot of the Arenacross tracks in here. So does have a little bit more of a fantasy kind of width to the track, so it can kind of lose a little bit of its like Arenacross type of feel in that sense. Some of the finish line jumps are a little bigger than you would think, and some of the just standard jumps in general are a little bigger than you might think they would be. So it's not like 1-to-1 scale replica, if you're wondering that, right? It's not like, exact replication English. It's not like exact replication of a real-life Arenacross track, but it does feel tighter than some of the other supercross tracks in the game and stuff, so it does give you a little bit of a different feel when you compare it to the supercross track, specifically in MX versus ATV All Out. So, yeah, I mean, they're cool. I don't know. I mean, like, you can see the finish line right there. That's probably about... maybe like 100 foot. Every finish line feels like it's just about 100 foot and super wide feeling as far as like the jump face itself. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a different experience there. But yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like for the majority of people, they're not going to spend a lot of time on this, honestly. Even if they've bought the DLC, I feel like it's going to be one of those things where they're more like, I feel like people are going to be more excited about the terrain deformation that came with this update, more so than the Arenacross tracks themselves, which is crazy saying that, but I'm dead serious. Like, I feel like more people will be interested in riding on the Supercross and Motocross tracks in this game with the updated terrain deformation than they will the Arenacross tracks. I just feel like it's going to be a short-lived thing. You know, I don't know. That's just personally the way I feel about it. It's just like, I don't know, there are rhythms. I was a little bit more impressed. You know, I was thinking it was going to be like super, super simple rhythms. There are a couple of them that do take a little bit of skill on some of the Arenacross tracks here. Like, you know, like right there on that finish line, if you overjump the first little double, then you'll come up, you can't hit the finish line as hard as you want to. And this actual triple section up here is pretty easy on this track, but I was on a couple of them where they weren't that easy. They were actually a little bit tricky. You had to nail that seat bounce button perfectly, full throttle around the corner to hit certain rhythms, and there's some of them where it's like, about 80% of the community is only going to be able to double it, but if you're really, really good and you nail it perfectly, you can get a triple in certain sections on certain Arenacross tracks here. So I did like to see a little bit of that skill gap to it, but I mean, all in all, I don't know. Like, if I was really going to sit down and play this game again, I mean, I would ride on these tracks a little bit, but then I would just go right back to the Supercross tracks because they're longer, more fun, more stuff to hit on them, and I would like ride with the newer terrain deformation on the new Supercross tracks. So that's just me personally, but either way, is it worth the money? I mean, like, the stadiums they're Arenacross stadiums. It's not like anything crazy amazing, anything super impressive. You know, that's the biggest thing I'm trying to get across here is it's just Arenacross at the end of the day. Like, there's not a whole lot you can really do with it. So I'm not, like, you know, really blaming Nordic and those guys and Rainbow. It's one of those things. It's just, this is an Arenacross DLC. It's to me, it's just more of a lackluster decision to do Arenacross versus like putting I don't know, putting more motocross tracks in there or more supercross tracks in there, or putting like more little bikes or different stuff or trail tracks in there or something, right? This is just because it's like the supercross tracks in the game, maybe a little bit different, right? They are a little bit different here, but you know, I felt like the Supercross track's probably one of the best elements to this MX vs. ATV All Out, actually having to have some rhythm and some skill to hit some of the bigger lines and stuff, and if you come up short on stuff, like totally kills your lap time and kills your momentum and stuff like that. So it's like, so then they come out with DLC, which is Arenacross, which is like the Supercross that they already do pretty well in the game, but just smaller tracks, like half the length of a track, half the size of tracks. So it just, I don't know, like, if you're like a super hardcore Arenacross fan, maybe you'll be down, like, super into this, but personally, I don't know. It just, like, it's cool. I mean, I'll ride on all the tracks at least once or twice, but as far as, like, any sort of longevity to it and whatnot, I don't know. I feel like Arenacross is almost something that you just about can't base a DLC off of it, I don't feel like. That's just me personally with that opinion, right? You let me know in the comments what you guys think, but I just think it's just not even enough. It's just not enough stuff. And with MX vs. ATV All Out, they went back to putting a lot more content in the game, thank God. You know, I'm sitting here talking about, oh, this is like not enough content for a DLC just having Arenacross, but man, I have to say, like, just the base version of All Out with the motocross, supercross, ATVs, you know, different vehicles, free ride tracks, multiple free ride tracks, like they're the ones that are finally trying to get back to like an actual somewhat decent amount of content in these motocross games. So I have to give them a shout out for that. You know, I'm sitting here talking about like, ooh, Arenacross only DLC, oof, you know, talk about it like that, but in all reality, when you compare like just the track content in All Out to like the Official Monster Energy Supercross game or MXGP Pro or whatever. I mean, it's just like there's so much more track content in this game and just different stuff to ride on. So it is cool that, you know, it's like they kind of just built upon that with the Arenacross here, but at the same time, like, I just have to be honest with you, dude. Like, I just don't feel like a lot of people are just going to sit there and want to ride on that. I feel like Arenacross is one of those things where it's a lot more fun in real life than it is a video game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I've felt that way in every game, every motocross game that I played Arenacross. Like those custom Arenacross tracks for Reflex on PC, I can't stand them. I ride on them for about 2 seconds. Like, this shit's boring, you know? It's like a Supercross track, but twice as boring. That's basically exactly what an Arenacross track is. So the only game I can even remotely bear it is MX Simulator, because it actually does have a little bit of skill to it, you know, regardless of what kind of track you're on in MX Simulator. But even with MX Simulator, I don't even really like to ride on Arenacross tracks. I'd rather be on a Supercross track because it's more fun. There's more stuff to ride on. There's more types of rhythms. Seems like a lot of your, and this is like even in real life Arenacross tracks and stuff, they just don't have the variation of rhythms. Like, you don't see a lot of dragons backs and tabletops over tabletops and different cool little random stuff that you'll have on Supercross tracks, stuff like that. And there is no main triples on a Arenacross track either, is there? Unless I'm just mistaken. These are like technically like rhythm section triples right here, triple. And usually on like an Arenacross track, in the rhythm sections, usually it'll just be like a triple or a double. It won't ever be like a triple or a triple quad nipple triple. You know, it won't be anything like that. And so that's, you know, it's like it's restrictive and lack of bigger types of fun, unique rhythms and certain stuff like that that make Arenacross tracks. It's not just the fact that they're smaller, even though that does play a part, but it's also the lack of variation of types of jumps and obstacles and rhythms and stuff just in the way that they are in real life. You know, I understand THQ and all, they're just trying to replicate the real life stuff here, so I can't like blame them on that side of it, but I'm more so blaming the real life Arenacross tracks in that type of sense. But I think they totally shut that down, so no more real life Arenacross. So either way, yeah, I mean, as far as the whoops and stuff like that, they might be slightly bigger on some of these tracks than you've noticed on some of the other like Supercross tracks in this game and stuff. They do seem a little bit more on the beefy side. It's almost like they tried to make this Arenacross DLC with these tracks. They tried to make them a little bit more like skill gapped and difficult than what you would think like a one-to-one replicated Arenacross track would be in real life. You know, it's like they really tried hard to do that. Tried to make the triples more difficult. You know, tried to like really like narrow down these corners and stuff. So it was cool to see that sort of design. I mean, all in all, like, I'm like straight up, it's probably about as good as you could make a, you know, Arenacross DLC, but that's kind of the catch-22 is it's like, it's just an Arenacross DLC, dog. That's all there is to it, you know. But yeah, either way, man, is it worth the 50 cents a track? If you're super into MX vs. ATV All Out, maybe it is. If you're one of those that just kind of hopped on it at the beginning and returned it or didn't want to play it anymore or thought the physics were kind of weird and like playing an iPhone game or like way outdated ground physics, then this is probably not, obviously you're probably not going to want to, you know, invest in this. Not like I really have to tell you that, but yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like there would have been a way better sort of reaction to it, right, by the community if it would have been like newer motocross tracks with actual, like, you know how the motocross tracks in this game are super simplistic, super smooth, give you kind of a weird like flat track vibe to them, and all the motocross tracks in this game almost feel exactly the same. The jumps are kind of lackluster on the motocross tracks. There's like no roughness at all, no real like pre-made ruts or anything. Well, if they would have went in there and been like, hey guys, we're coming out with the DLC, we're going to actually go in there and make like, you know, more hardcore realistic motocross tracks, bigger jumps, different styles, more elevation, cooler, different styles of tracks, more roughness on the motocross tracks, all that kind of stuff. If that would have been their sort of DLC outlook, I could see where a lot more people would have thought about, you know, getting into that and stuff. But yeah, I mean, personally, like you can see this rhythm right here that I'm hitting. Be a little bit more difficult to hit a triple in that little rhythm, and not really sure if it actually helped you too much, but that's the thing about it. You know, they did actually improve the terrain deformation and stuff. Again, they did have an update for it before, but this is like even more updated. So, you know, it'll be interesting to see how all that is on some other tracks and stuff like that. But either way, bro, I mean, it just all in all, you just about got to be absolutely in love with the game to really want to invest in this here. That's basically the bottom line. It's cool to see that the tracks have a cool feel. They have like kind of a cool, does give you like this big Arenacross type of vibe to the game and stuff. But, you know, and the cool little light up finish line thing they got going on, all that. I mean, it's cool. It's cool, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's really going to catch on. It's not really going to, I feel like there's not going to be a whole lot of people racing on this multiplayer more than a few days. That's just kind of where I'm at on it, man. Not much more to say to it. And I can't really, you know, it's not me really blaming anybody. It's more of just I think they're kind of making the wrong stuff at the wrong time, or yeah, the wrong stuff at the wrong time, kind of, sort of, is what it seems like to me more than anything. It's cool to see that they're making something, right? It's cool to see it, but I can just imagine the people that, you know, paid the $7, get on there, trying to get on it, can't even get on the Arenacross tracks because all the debacle after it already being delayed, and then it just being Arenacross tracks at the end of the day. Like, I can just see the, is that a quad? I think that was a quad right there. It's the first quad I've seen at all on these Arenacross tracks. Some of them do seem to have a little bit of this, like, pre-made, like, almost like the terrain's kind of got a little bit of a super, super small micro roughness to it. Cool little sand section right here. That'd be so sick if they made a full, like, Southwick-style sand track like that or something, and added that in on DLC. But yeah, that's a quad if you hit it all the way, but then you're gonna have to single that next jump. But yeah, it was cool to see some of them that didn't have that, like, you know, paper flat kind of style to the track. And this is before it was really rutted up, right? This is like, what are we on, just now lap 3? And that already, it's like it had a pre-baked, pre-made bit of like roughness to the ground, you know, a little bit of just really small little bumps and stuff on it. So that was kind of cool. Gives you a little bit more of a realism than some of the other Supercross tracks in the game. So I did like to see that. That would have been cool if it would have been more like that on some of the original motocross tracks in the game. That would have been sick. But either way, man, all in all, as far as like a full review, I mean, for the price, $7 some odd for like 12 new Arenacross tracks. I mean, if it would have been like, I mean, they just about have to make it that price for how expensive their DLC bikes are. You know, it wouldn't make any sense to go in there and have like the same price for Arenacross DLC as it is for one of the, you know, manufacturer DLC bikes in the game. So they basically had to make it at least like $7 for the DLC. But I mean, I know that, you know, a lot of times these games, they'll come out DLC, it's like $20 and certain stuff like that. Like, I get it. You know, all in all, the price range, it's somewhere in the neighborhood, but you just gotta, it's one of those things you gotta, like, just about be in love with the game to really see that, you know, see the price of it being worth it and stuff like that. So, or like I said, you just have to either be like a real life Arenacross racer or a super fan of Arenacross and something like that to really get the fun out of it. So, either way, dude, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, bros.